Hi, and welcome back to the Positive Prepper. I just want to jump on here real quick. There are one, two, three, four things that are going on right now that I think everybody needs to be aware of if you're not already. And I'm going to talk about a couple of these a little bit more in depth, just so that you have an understanding of how all of this affects you, or if it does. So the first thing is that there have been mysterious attacks on the Nord Stream gas pipeline system. There were damage to 3 offshore gas lines on the bed of the Baltic Sea. And the explosions that damaged them actually measured on the Richter scale. So you know that these were pretty big explosions. Now, why is that important? Well, first of all, the CIA had warned Germany of something like this happening. And they did this several weeks ago, where they warned Germany and said, something could happen to your pipelines. Back on February 7th, Biden said that if Russia, now remember, this was before Russia actually invaded Ukraine. And Biden said if Russia invades Ukraine, there will no longer be a Nord Stream 2. We will bring an end to it. And a reporter that he was talking to said, or asked, how we would do that since it's underneath German control. And Biden's response was, and I quote, "I promise you we will be able to do that." So that was back in February. And then a couple of weeks ago, the CIA warned Germany that something like this could happen. And then all of a sudden, voila, major damage to the Nord Stream pipeline. Europe right now is definitely going to be facing a very dark winter. Norway, France, Germany, and Russia seem to be making that energy supply crisis even worse. And that's according to Markets Insider, Kate Duffy. How that affects us, if it does, remains to be seen. It's just going to put a lot of Europe having to decide whether or not to put food on their table or keep their homes warm. The low income, the elderly, the disabled, just as it would be over here, those people are going to have the hardest time. And with the way that these natural disasters and storms and things have been going, we can almost be guaranteed that this winter is not going to be an easy winter. And so those people are going to have to make some really tough choices if they can't repair these pipelines or find alternative ways to heat their homes. The second thing that that's pretty obviously affecting everybody right now were the storm Fiona, and then the current Hurricane Ian, which is just pummeling Florida right now. And our thoughts and prayers go out to all of those people that are in that path. I have family down there, so we're keeping a really close eye on that. But the historic disaster that these two storms, not just for the United States, but also for Canada. I watched on YouTube some of the videos coming out of Canada, and it was just absolutely stunning and amazing, the amount of devastation that they've had up there from Fiona. And then, of course, anytime something goes into the Gulf of Mexico, you always have to watch what happens to gas prices, right? Because of the oil rigs and stuff down there. So we need to keep a really close eye on that. Now they're talking about, and this is the third thing, is that, they were talking about how the gas prices had been coming down for a historically long period of time, right? But y'all remember where we were back 2 years ago, okay? And how high the gas prices went, and how actually slowly they've come down. And now, currently, they're starting to go back up again. So this isn't over. Thankfully, the gas prices didn't get as high as we thought maybe they would back in the spring. You know, there was a lot of talk of gas prices being up over $7 a gallon. Well, here in the main part of the United States, yeah, they were high, but they weren't that high like they would be in Hawaii, for example. But, you know, with these natural disasters and with the war and the threat of nuclear war that seems to just continue to rise, this attack on the Nord Stream pipelines might have been that, what do you call it, the Black Swan event or whatever, because everybody's pointing fingers. There was a government official in Poland that was actually blaming the United States for that. But as I was saying, so we have these natural disasters and the wars, and these are all wreaking havoc on not only our crops and our food supply chains, you know, the food shortages, the billions of people that are going to be under either famine or severe food crisis. This could also affect the gas prices as well to go up. And then the fourth thing that I wanted to bring up is the stock market. I was home on Monday and I watched the stock market just drop and drop and drop. And sorry, I had a phone call come in. According to the Forbes 400, which is their list of wealthiest people, they have collectively in the last year lost over $500 billion. And again, that's just in the last year. So we are, you know, we're in bear market territory. So what is that? Well, that basically means that prices are falling and investor confidence is low. And there are two common catalysts for this. There's two main reasons why we go into a bear market. The first one is an impending recession. And then the second one is rising inflation. And we actually have both of those things happening side by side right now. So it's really not a surprise that our stock market is going so low. So what does this mean? Well, this means that what we're going to see in the stock market is we're going to see, you know, this gradual lowering, but we're going to see some spikes. So every day or even sometimes every hour, you might see a spike in increase, and then you might see another spike down in sell-offs. So these are going to be really sharp up and down swings. So if you watch the news and you watch anything with the Dow ticker, you know, you might see some of these that just go up and down like that. It doesn't mean that the market is crashing yet, okay? But it does mean that it's extremely volatile. And depending on what happens with the war or if there's more volatility across the world, like right now we're seeing a lot of rioting and protesting and stuff, even in places like Iran, that is also going to have a big impact on what happens here in America. So, but through all of this, I want you to remember that, you know, this doesn't mean that things are falling apart. I mean, things are bad. There's no question. But they're falling into place. This was all foretold. Read your book of Revelations. And just know that, you know, you have to get right with God. You've got to keep preparing. This isn't over, okay? Keep preparing. Especially preparing for zero power grid. So I hope this video helps. I'm going to try to get another quick one out tomorrow. Stay safe, stay aware, and God bless.